He has a particular set of skills, and he knows how to use them.
Get that stuff out of here! It's Southwest Bias!
It's Southwest Bias, brought to you by our friends at Branded Bills. Elevate your brand with the perfect headwear and apparel. Use that promo code BBPHNX to get 20% off your first order. And yeah, he's got a particular set of skills, and it's out drafting everybody and making some savvy free agent moves as well. Now, I'm not talking about James Jones. I'm talking about Monti Ossenfort with the Arizona Cardinals. He has put together yet another masterful draft. The man seems to have a plan and knows how to execute it to a T. Coming off of what was a pretty good 2024 draft, the Arizona Cardinals were looking to add the talent to put them in the playoff picture in 2025, and Monti Ossenfort pulled that off, getting a couple, at least one steal, and another guy that many thought should have gone higher. Of course, Walter Nolen III is the guy I'm talking about, who went at 16 to the Cardinals. Many had projected much higher going in this draft. He's a guy with the right attitude coming out of Ole Miss that I think is going to help solve a lot of the Cardinals' defensive problems. Monti Ossenfort got big value there, but it was the second round where I think nobody expected what Ossenfort was able to pull off, as he got the cornerback Will Johnson from Michigan. And yeah, Johnson has some injury concerns, but as long as he actually can play, and he says he's been healthy the last 2 years, he can be a day one impact player at cornerback and potentially a shutdown corner from word one and for in the future. Monti Ossenfort has been pretty damn good since he's arrived in the desert. And I don't think it's by happenstance. I think Ossenfort came in with a plan that he wanted to execute and has executed it to almost perfection. He got the offense where he wanted it in terms of roster construction after adding Marvin Harrison last year and re-upping, Trey McBride this offseason. The offensive structure and roster construction is there. It's up to them to take that next step this season. But Ossenfort's put together a unit that should succeed and score successfully in this NFC West and in today's NFL. The defense, while scrappy, was the biggest concern going into this season. And what Ossenfort did by signing Josh Sweat, adding in Calais Campbell, and then this draft, which was a glutton of great defensive players that they pulled off, solidifies that unit. This does not feel like the Cardinals I grew up with, or my father's Cardinals from the late 80s and early 90s. A team that was lost, never drafted well, always seemed to be trying to figure out what the future would look like. And sure, the present sometimes was great. The 98 playoff run, the Super Bowl run in 2009, the Arians years with, in the aughts, those were all great, but I don't think there was ever that structured plan for the future, which you're getting with Monti Ossenfort. I've got to give him a lot of credit for coming in and saying, this is what I want to accomplish, and I'm going to need you to get out of my way and let me handle football. Michael Bidwell seems to have done that, has handed over the reins of the organization from a football perspective to Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon. And that feels like the first time since maybe the Buddy Ryan days that any Bidwell has given up that kind of level of control. I feel like we are seeing a renaissance when it comes to Arizona Cardinals football. And it starts in that front office and then into that coaching staff. And I got to give Monti Ossenfort a hell of a lot of credit for that. Will it bear fruit? We're going to find out when September rolls around if this team can live up to the expectations. And we'll find out over the next few years if it can put them in a position to be a true championship contender. I don't think 10 or 11 wins is out of the question. It's what you're going to have to do to get in as a wild card. But I also think that the NFC West could be up for the taking. The Rams are a team that is always going to be in the mix. You can bury them for dead, like our friend Johnny Venerable, who's coming up on the program later, did multiple times last year, but you got to do it at your own peril because they are the 80s movie villain. Every time you think they're dead, they come back and they stick a knife straight in your back. But I think this Cardinals team can compete with them. As Stafford's getting older, that group, well, good, I think, is defeatable. And I think the Cardinals have the pieces. San Francisco is San Francisco. Seattle, I don't believe in Sam Darnold. I think this is an opportunity for the Arizona Cardinals. As long as the offense can click, which I think they will, to plant their flag in the NFC West and start their run of NFC West titles. And if it's not this year, I think it's a wild card, and that could start next year. Monti Ossenfort has laid the foundation. So much so, and I know the joke is he looks like him, but I'm going to start calling him Hitman Agent State 48. Because the man is an assassin. He's moved quietly, he's struck when he needs to, and he's done it with precision. It's the best I've felt about the Arizona Cardinals present and future in a very long time, and I'm excited to see what else he has up his sleeve as we move into the next phase of the offseason and into training camp. But maybe that's just my Southwest bias. Coming up on the other side of the break, Johnny Venerable joins me, and I make it very clear that this ain't JV's show. This is Espo's show. We'll be right back. Hey, it's Espo back to tell you about my friends at Branded Bills. You can see the PHNX custom hat we have here on the table. I'm wearing a Branded Bills hat. I am a hat addict. I have about 60 of them at my house, and slowly but surely, they're all becoming Branded Bills because I have not worn a more comfortable hat, a better quality hat than Branded Bills. And the best part, they're local. They're from Arizona, so you're helping a local company with every purchase you make, whether you like snapbacks, truckers, fitted hats, beanies, tees. They even have quarter zips. They've got you covered at Branded Bills, and I want to make a special offer just to you so you can help out this local company. Use the promo code BBPHNX, and you're going to save 20% off your first order. It's that simple. Use the promo code BBPHNX at checkout at brandedbills.com, and you're going to save 20% off your first order. I travel about 100 miles a day to get from my house to my daughter's school, into the office, and back home. Yeah, I have a long drive, but you know what makes it great? The fact that gas doesn't cost me an arm and a leg because of my friends at Circle K. And they help me have refreshments as I'm going to and from work. That's right. I stop at Circle K. I fill up when I need to, which is a lot more often than most people with how much I drive. I get myself something to drink, and I enjoy it because I am a member of the Inner Circle. With the Inner Circle, you sign up, you're going to save 3 cents off every gallon that you purchase. But the best part, your first 5 fill-ups, you're going to save 25 cents. And then after you fill up for a while using Circle K Inner Circle, you're going to get to the Espo level. You're going to save 5 cents off every gallon, and you're going to get great offers on snacks and drinks and all sorts of things at Circle K. Don't forget that they've got their Inner Circle Fuel Days coming up on April 10th and April 24th. You're going to save 40 cents per gallon, and you still get your Inner Circle discount. Download the Circle K app, join the Inner Circle for free. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details. It's the premier Arizona Cardinals conversation live from Studio K. Actually, it's tape delayed, but that is for my friend Johnny Venerable, the host of PHNX Cardinals, and my guest talking a little bit of Arizona Cardinals draft and the aftermath of it all. Johnny, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, Mr. Espo. How are you?
I'm good. Did I do you proud? I don't think my voice cracked as much as yours does with the live.
You know, my voice was struggling on our Monday show. That's because we did 16 hours of live coverage.
Yeah.
You know, no big deal. Little,
Yeah.
little flex by your boy there, but no, it sounded good. You got to build up to it. It's not something you can, it's like riding a bike, right? You got to get some reps in first.
Let's be honest, not 16 straight hours though. And let's make that
Yeah,
caveat clear.
HR probably would have been called if that was the case. Only ASU does that.
The only guy that worked harder than you this weekend was Monti Ossenfort. When you look at this draft in totality, nationally, they're getting a lot of praise for the most part. There were some outliers that said some stupid things, but for the most part, getting a lot of praise. What was your overall assessment of how the Cardinals did with the draft?
It's cliche to say like best case scenario. Like I think that gets thrown out around a lot, right? We all cope after draft classes come in and we're like, man, Cardinals did really well here. Why did my team get an A? I would savor this moment, Cardinal fans, the legitimately best case scenario. When we went through draft season, it was a mandate from me, like with how close this team is to taking that next step in the NFC and putting a ball in the rebuild. It's like you had to come away with your first two picks, two top 40 players, right? In this class, partially because this draft fell off a little bit, right? So like do what you need to do. Trade down from 16 to like 22, 23, and then trade up from 47. Get two guys that you feel like could be immediate contributors. He got two Monti Ossenfort, probably top 15 players. And that's not hyperbole to say. Walter Nolen, by all account, was a top 8 to 12 player on most people's board. We can thank the Chicago Bears. If the Chicago Bears had gone Michael Williams at pick 10, like they should have done instead of a backup tight end, then the San Francisco 49ers were going to take Walter Nolen. Carolina Panthers were considering Walter Nolen. So they get him at 16, and already the draft is a win. Already you can sell me on, you want to screw around and take the equivalent of Tip Ryman again at 47, Ossenfort, you can do that. And he takes Will Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan, who I think, and this is a little bit of a hot take in terms of like, hey, you're a full-time corner. You're playing in the Big 10, not the Big 12. I think Will Johnson has a chance to be like the best all-around corner in this draft, health permitting. I know Travis Hunter has all the fanfare, but he's playing both ways. Didn't play in a great conference. I think he's going to play more wide receiver than corner for Jacksonville. And then, everything else, whether it's Birch or Cody Simon. I mean, it's a draft that I never thought this franchise could put together, health permitting, exiting this weekend. It's an A+.
When you looked at did other teams just try to outsmart themselves? Because Walter Nolen, like you said, fell down the board a bit. But Will Johnson, all this talk about concerns with medicals, right? But he says, I've been healthy for 2 years. I mean, does that surprise you in any way that he fell as far as he did?
It does surprise me. We've been tipped off by Mike Garafolo of NFL Network, who comes on our show, and Benjamin Albright and a couple other people that the word was gonna slip, right? Not free fall. It was a free fall. And I think teams at the end of the day don't want to have to explain to their owner, like, why did we take a guy who might not get a second contract because of a knee? Whereas the Cardinals are like, well, at 47, like we can sell our fans that, like, hey, let's just take this year by year. But guess what he is? He's healthy right now. Whereas you look at a guy like Josh Simmons, who a lot of people connected to the Cardinals, and rightfully so, he is not healthy right now. He can't play a game tomorrow. There's talk of a guy like Jalen Walker might need shoulder surgery, after the draft. He could have a delay. I think the Cardinals are very comfortable, clearly, with Will Johnson's knee. They took Garrett Williams off an ACL 2 years ago, and I know it's not apples to oranges, but they have patience with their defensive back. There's nobody who coaches DBs better than Jonathan Gannon. So I think it's a calculated risk, not one clearly that they were comfortable in the first round, but second round, I mean, sign me up for that.
Did you ever imagine you'd have a GM whose kink was players from Ohio State?
I did not. Or big schools in general. Like it's hyperbole. See, I posted this on Twitter. I'm not sure if our audience saw it or not, so I'm going to read it again here. So before Monti Ossenfort took over as GM, the Cardinals went 12 years without drafting a player from Ohio State. 12 years, over a decade. And that's like, you could take a throwaway player in the 7th round and it would qualify. They deliberately avoided a program that went 105-39 during those 12 years. They won a national championship, but it's not even like that natty team with Cardell Jones and Zeke and everybody else. I think it's all about like, they're winning like 12, 13 games every year. Guys, like, what are you doing? Your roster is not equipped to ignore that. And then you top it off right. Like, what's the big knock on Alabama under Nick Saban? He would squeeze that orange and they would come to the NFL and these guys would be toast, right? Physically, they'd be worn down. You could make an argument. What university has produced not only the most pros, but the most productive pros than Ohio State? They were coming into the league and immediately becoming like the best players at their position. And the Cardinals said, no, we're better than that. We don't need that. We want kids from Grambling State and Tulsa, right? And off-ball linebacker safeties from Clemson that played in the ACC. It was drafting malpractice. You know this, Espo. The team has never been good drafting, ever. Like, never consistently. Keim took that and put it on steroids. Like, how inept do you want to be? That's what we're going to be. And so it is Ossenfort's a football godsend. I think these are like the Ohio State players, for instance, that they took this year, Burke and Cody Simon. Those are very safe picks. Those are guys that played a ton on national games, and they don't play premium positions. I think Burke's going to play safety and Cody Simon's off-ball linebacker. Like, the very worst of those guys are backups. Does anybody think that's going to happen? I do not. I think they're going to be constants on a Cardinal defense that's poised to take a jump this year.
Well, you bring it up, and we're both long-suffering fans of this franchise. Let's not act like we're not, and call us fanboys. Yeah. Call us fanboys if you must, but that's just the cross that we bear here. But is this and I don't mean this as hyperbole. Is this the most solid front office that we've seen over the last 30 years? I mean, to me, it feels like the first time I'm not questioning, is this the right decisions? Is there a vision? Is there a plan? Do you feel kind of the same way here?
I think we need 1 year of playoffs, double-digit wins to get a general consensus on that, because on the surface level, you are correct. Now, Ossenfort has not had a Pro Bowler drafted yet. But like, what is a Pro Bowl? It's a fan vote, right? But you can look at his last 2 classes, and I'll put my fanboy hat aside for a second. I am a fan. I am a boy, by the way. Like, you can just look at, okay, where are like the all pros? But like, we all know Garrett Williams, Paris, Michael Wilson, Marv, like, these guys are going to be constants on a team that we think is going to be pretty damn good. I think the only thing, and like, do you consider coach part of the front office? Like, that's a gray area. Bruce Arians was an elite talent evaluator.
That's fair.
And I think I'm going to give Bruce Arians a period of about 24 to 36 months where Bruce Arians found John Brown, where Bruce Arians enabled Patrick Peterson to court Tyrann Mathieu, where Bruce Arians knew what he wanted to do with David Johnson. So I will say there was a period where Bruce Arians could do no wrong. DJ Humphrey, like, he pressed a lot of the right buttons. He made guys that Keim took and elevated them from C- to B+. So does Ossenfort, though, have a chance to one-up all of that this fall? 100%. If the Cardinals make the playoffs this year, which I expect them to, they're both, Ossenfort and Gannon are being extended potentially during the season. You've got a foundation now that's not built on the backbone of aging players like A.J. Green and Rodney Hudson, DeAndre Hopkins. We're about to see the youngest Cardinal team in recent memory. They've added 28 rookies or first-year players in the draft over the last 3 years. 28 on top of undrafted players and acquisitions. So I think Ossenfort is the best drafter. How about that? The best overall drafter from Thursday to Saturday that I've seen in my adult life. There's no doubt about it.
All right. What's the name of the guy that they picked up from Tennessee? Guy that's got my same body type. I'm rooting for that guy to make the roster.
Yes. So his name is Elijah Simmons.
Thank you.
100%. Yes. 6'1", almost 365 or something ridiculous
exact
like that.
measurements is me right now.
No,
Exact. So I'm
you're
ready to
looking
get
good,
in the
my guy.
trenches too. So
He like even their I texted both this like even their undrafted players like look the part, are from major universities, have a chance to stick, right? Like there's an intent when they sign undrafted players. They're not doing favors, right? They get this kid, by the way, another undrafted free agent, Josh Fryer, who played right tackle where Ohio State, who played for who Justin Fry, who was at Ohio State, the O-line coach, had this kid for 4 years. Now Fry's with Arizona and Gannon. Gannon, by the way, wanted to hire Justin Fry 3 years ago when he took the job. He wasn't available. So now you get this kid that was molded by your O-line coach as an undrafted player. Most people had him as a draftable player. He played at the highest height of college football. Does anybody think this kid's not at least going to stick around, has a chance to be practice squad backup, if not better? Like that is what the elite programs in the NFL do. It's not just about who you hit on at pick 16. It goes so much deeper than that. The game is so refined now. You're like splitting hairs. That's how competitive the NFC West is. You have to differentiate yourself, and it's with draft classes and free agent hauls like this. So, I mean, it's the kind of offseason, if we couple it with free agency, Espo, that they needed to have to reignite this fan base after collapsing again last year.
all right. Final question. What's one Cardinals draft pick over the years that you fully believed in, that didn't pan out?
Man.
Who's that guy that you were all in on? Because I have a long list, but I want to know what yours is.
I do too. The most notable is definitely Josh Rosen. Like, I didn't like Isaiah Simmons. Man, like I was kind of lukewarm on Kyler because they had just drafted Rosen. I had a draft party at my house. There's a video that's gone around. I'll send it to you after this. And my dad's sitting there to my right, and I remember Rosen falling, and then the Cardinals traded up, and my dad wanted Lamar Jackson. And I was like, still in the vein of like pocket quarterbacks can succeed. Could this be Troy Aikman? And I was so fired up. Rosen, by the way, hadn't like met with the Cardinals, of course. That's very on brand with the team under Keim. And I thought Rosen was going to be special. I bought his jersey immediately. I stayed up till 3 a.m. watching UCLA highlights. And then he was legitimately gone like a year later. So I've never fallen harder for a draft pick than Rosen.
I mean, Leinart was on my list, but Andre Wadsworth was the guy that I fell hard for in the late 90s, and didn't pan out there. He is Johnny Venerable. Catch him on PHNX Cardinals every day at 4:30 Arizona time right here on the PHNX Sports YouTube page. Johnny, always a pleasure.
See you, my guy.
Always great to have Johnny on the program. He was one of my favorite guys to BS with around the office, a long-suffering Cardinals fan who's feeling a little bit of hope now, and I'm feeling it as well. I wanted to talk about something else that came up in the news today. Congratulations to Suns legend and two-time MVP Steve Nash, who will be part of Amazon's broadcast crew as they take over the NBA contract starting with the 25-26 season. He's going to be seated next to Dirk Nowitzki. That's right. His former Dallas Mavericks teammate will be teaming up with him again. And he joked on Twitter that he's going to have to carry Steve's ass like he did 25 years ago. And you got to love the fact that these two have a personal relationship. They're very funny, and I think it's going to make for quite an interesting dynamic on the studio show for Amazon. But it does mean that Steve Nash, even though many of you have talked about it, many of you suggested it, many of you have wanted it, won't be involved in the Suns front office and won't be involved in coaching. Our friend Mark Stein, who broke the news about Nash going to Amazon, also said that he's really not looking to get back into coaching, and he's certainly not interested in the Phoenix Suns opening right now. So that's one name you can take off the list, but for good reason. We'll still get to enjoy Steve Nash. It'll just be on the Amazon broadcasts. And one last thing, I don't know if you guys have experienced this yet, but Coca-Cola has a new marketing thing. They do it every summer where they put names on their bottles and cans of other people in hopes that you share it with somebody. I'm not in the mood to share my drink when I buy it, and I'm really not in the mood to drink something out of a bottle or can with somebody else's name on it. It weirds me out, and I can't be the only one that's holding a can that doesn't have their name. I'm drinking out of something that says Frank when my name's Espo, or it's actually Greg legally. I don't want to drink out of that because it feels like I've stolen somebody else's soda. So unless you make it easier to get my name, or you stop putting people's names on the cans, I'm going to feel very bizarre drinking your product. That's another Southwest bias for this week. Big thank you to Ayrton behind the Mac who helped produce today's show. And big thanks to our guest, Johnny Venerable. I'll be back later in the week with more, but you can follow me until then at Espo. You can follow the show at PHNX_sports. And until next time, ahoy hoy.